It's December, the month considered a peak season for celebrating marriages. Many of the hotels, open spaces, churches or mosques are now booked out.
To be my lawfully wedded wife.
For better, for worse.
For richer, for poor.
In sickness and in health.
To love and to cherish.
Till death do us part.
And this is my solemn vow.
Amen.
Just as many choose to walk down the aisle, some couples, especially of the present times, take to the registrar's office. For them, the civil marriage is considered an easy getaway into lawful marriage, even with not much understanding of it, only to end up being caught on the wrong side of the law.
The law simply tells you, you know what, you've chosen a monogamous marriage. It's exclusive and it's the ultimate marriage. There will be no other marriage above it or below it. This is it, okay? And it's expected that this marriage will last you your lifetime. And should you decide to dissolve this marriage, it will only be done by a valid judgment of court. It will be a valid judgment that the court will decide and say, you know what, we are separating you. And should you contract any other marriage while this remains, then under our laws, that will be bigamy.
In Uganda, civil marriages can be conducted by the court registrar, and in the case of Kampala, it is at the Uganda Registration Services Bureau. For those in the countryside, they can go to the court registrar in their districts. Civil marriage, like many others, takes a strict procedure that ought to be followed to the latter.
You're required to put up notice at the registrar's office. By a registrar, we mean that identified person whom the minister identified licensed to conduct these marriages. This is the registrar's office, this is the registrar general's office, and the registrar general has powers to celebrate all marriages for all residents of Kampala.
Just like many in church are expected to be announced, this too is done for the civil marriage, and in case one has an objection to the solemnization, he or she lodges a notice of objection to the registrar, who then conducts thorough investigation that could nullify any further proceeding of contracting that marriage.
It's called a caveat. You lodge a caveat on the notice, and then you say that these people are not fit to marry. Okay, and to dissolve that caveat, you have to go to the courts. Okay, for us, our job as the registrar is to enter. You write an ordinary letter to the registrar, informing the registrar why these people should not go into this kind of union. Okay, and then that notice is put on the notice book, on the marriage notice book, and then we send it to the courts.
Although many see this form of marriage as an easier means to acquire marriage at a quicker and less expensive cost, there are a few more steps before your status changes from single to married.
There are certain things that you're supposed to swear to, you as a couple. For instance, you are supposed to confirm to us whether you are 18 years to be able to conduct this marriage, to be eligible, whether you come into this marriage of your free consent, no one has coerced you, that is your statement.
Mr. Muhindo and Ms. Nzuva, you've just made an oath before me.
Whether you're a resident of Kampala, and whether actually you're not within the prohibited degrees with the person that you're marrying.
To be my lawful wife. Pokea hiyo pete.
Restricted degrees are more spelled out under the Customary Marriage Act, but more widely in the context of the African setting.
Days of our life until death dwell as a path.
These could include, but not limited to, blood relations, lineage, and more. Civil marriages have in the recent times been taken into consideration because of the many expenses incurred in the other types of marriages, especially the traditional and religious marriages.
Government is composed by people, so they are there to look after the people. So whatever we do, we have to come to them because they are there for us and they are there for the residents as well.
No man shall put asunder under the religious marriage comes not to work under this particular type of marriage, because then a man in the capacity of a judge can dissolve a civil marriage. Mildred Tuhaise, NBS, Live at 9.